My name is Shannon Hill. This is my informative speech, and here is my audience. Okay. All right. And what's the date? What's the date today?
11/12.
11/12? Okay. So, women's lacrosse is one of the fastest growing sports in the world. I first learned about lacrosse at a camp in Reedfield, Maine. I was then a soccer coach, but my interest in soccer over the last 20 years soon faded as I started to learn more about lacrosse. In the following year, my soccer career had ended as I had made the lacrosse team at the University of Minnesota Duluth. Lacrosse is not only the fastest growing sport in the world, it's also immensely growing right here in the United States. Many of you from the Midwest have probably seen a glimpse or heard a little bit about lacrosse, but don't know many details about it. Today I will fill you in on the history, fundamentals, and success of women's lacrosse today. Even though we are just learning about lacrosse, it's been here since the 5th century. The game originated in America with the natives. According to Wikipedia, an online source, and an article titled History of Lacrosse, each team consisted of 100 to 1,000 teammates on a field at a time, and it stretched anywhere from 500 to a couple miles long, the field did. Unlike today, where the games that are a little over an hour, the natives used to play from sunup to sundown, and sometimes for 2 to 3 days at a time. Lacrosse got its name from a French settler. The U.S. Lacrosse website history page states that the French called it crosse, which originates from a generic name called curved stick. Soon after, in 1865, according to Wikipedia, William Beers, a Canadian dentist, founded the Montreal Lacrosse Club. He then codified the game, shortening the length, reducing the number to 12 per team, and the first game played was in 1867. Now, ironically, lacrosse history actually belongs to the women. The game was invented by the natives, mostly resembles women's lacrosse today over men's. The women's first game that was played in Scotland was 1980. According to Ask.com, an online source, and an article titled Lacrosse was introduced by Louisa Lumsden. After a visit to Quebec, she really enjoyed the game. She started the game as an inter-dormitory competition. Later, in 1926, one of those students from the dormitory started a U.S. team in Baltimore. Women's lacrosse has had some changes since 1926, but most of the fundamentals are the same. Women's lacrosse is a mix of soccer, football, and hockey. The hour-long game is played on a football field. The hour is split into 2 30-minute halves, and according to Lighthouse Lacrosse, an online source with an article titled Rules and Positions, there are 12 players with soccer-like positions, a goalkeeper, 5 attackers, and a defender. 6 defenders. The object of the game is to shoot the ball into the opponent's goal. The article also says the game begins with a draw in the center of the circle. That draw starts the game. After each goal is scored, there's another draw. And to start the second half, they also have a draw. The equipment that is used in women's lacrosse is what makes it so interesting. Each player holds a wicket-like stick. The stick is what the players use to scoop, catch, pass the small ball to each other. In this sport, you may not use hands to touch the ball. Each player has an arc around their head, and no stick may be used to hit the other player in the head region. It's an imaginary arc. You can't hit anyone in this region. Women do wear protective eyewear and mouth guards just in case a rough check is made. The only way to get the ball from the opponent is to check their stick or interceive a pass or get a ball from the ground. The game is mostly aerial, but there are occurrences where the ball is on the ground. The goal is to keep the ball in the netting and continue to cradle as fast as you can so you don't drop it while you're trying to run and score. The nets are at each end of the field. You must get the ball to past the goalkeeper to score, and whoever scores the most points wins. The fundamentals here are just one reason that America's oldest sport is so popular. It's the speed and fast-paced action that makes it the most growing sport in the United States today. This sport for women has really taken off to a new level. 40 years ago, there was no women's high school teams at all. For now, according to the Wall Street Journal article titled "Lacrosse Makes Its Way to the West," there are more than 60,000 women players now in 23 states. For collegiate women players, as the article also states, there are no more than 300 college lacrosse programs across Division 1, 2, and 3, which is triple the number in 2 decades. This article from the journal was written in 2009, and it also additionally says 17 colleges added a women's lacrosse program that year, more than any other sport in the United States. So there are so many reasons for the sport's growth, one being media. It started on the East Coast, a lot of action going down there, and now it's nationwide. Lastly, the Wall Street Journal says the availability of college scholarships has increased by a lot, and this is a huge draw for new students to come play the sport. So we will continue to have success. In conclusion, this exhilarating sport that was created by the Native Americans, given a name by the French, and raised by the Canadians has been embraced competitively for over a century now. It is enjoyed by women and fans nationwide because of its combination of speed of hockey, endurance of soccer, and aggressiveness of football. America will continue to grow in the fast-paced full action of women's lacrosse. Thank you. And there's the beach in San Diego.